Hi, you guys. I was thinking as I was pondering whether I could do a reading or not. Am I ready? Am I ready? Am I ready? Are we ever ready? I don't know. Here goes. 1, 2, 3. I was in physical therapy yesterday, and maybe that's how I got the image, but I was thinking about the idea of the phantom limb. It's a phenomenon. You can get a limb amputated and you still feel it. You still feel pain in where the limb was. And it strikes me that that's just true with the things we lose in life. The things that no longer are there can still, there's an ache in their absence. The phantom limb. And I think that whatever was my phantom limb that was hurting so much has been supplanted by something else. Maybe a faith or just a peripheral sense of healing. Phantom limb. King of Pentacles. That's somebody who's grounded and, see, he's looking off to the side. Sort of in his peripheral vision, something is coming. He, she, they. Somebody who's true to themselves and established in their 3D life, comfortable in their own skin. Justice card. Card of Libra. Of balance and equilibrium. In sword energy, to do with the mind, perception, and so on. Maybe because this person has regained their ground, they've regained their equilibrium. They're able to see things. Justice is blind, but they're seeing something beyond the everyday. This is a major arcana card to do with the deep energies of the psyche. I get the feeling this King of Pentacles, is seeing something approaching, but seeing it with the mind's eye. Maybe coming back into equilibrium after some kind of hurt, or getting grounded after a big loss. Yeah, a big loss. 5 of Swords. There can be a card of winning at all costs, but there's something about the sword and the phantom limb. It's a card of change, or the need for change. Maybe a change in the idea, sword energy, of what victory really is. Is it this one? Knight of Swords. More air energy. Can be a new understanding coming in. After some kind of argument or struggle, or let's just find out. What's this Knight of Swords about? 5 of Pentacles. Well, this could be the phantom limb idea too, in that 5 of Pentacles can mean a loss. Of what one had. And maybe this King of Pentacles is getting a new idea, Knight of Swords, about win-lose, loss-gain. Pentacles speaks to 3D stuff. Whatever it is, it's restored for this earth sign energy individual. Doesn't need to be an earth sign, doesn't need to be a masculine. Somebody who was perhaps left out in the cold or experienced some kind of loss. And there's a new clarity coming in. Like a recalibration of these scales. Justice can speak to that Libra energy of this is to that, of equilibrium. After some stressful time, Five of Swords, after feeling out in the cold. Getting a new perspective on a relationship or on loss itself. Four of Wands. That's kind of not the opposite of this, but the balanced energy. Here's loss, a kind of disconnect or out in the cold energy. And this fire energy of meeting up somewhere with a somebody. Equal give and take. Perhaps a new idea of what it means to be connected. Libra is a card of relationship. There's something about it being, having faith when something's postponed. Knight of Swords, Two of Wands. There's a decision to be made about which way to go or how to do something, how to get there. Wands are directional. How to get there. Something about your paths crossing with somebody else who's on their own journey. There may have been a long time in separation. After some kind of argument or discord or disconnect. How do we get there? What decisions do we make to reach this place of union? It could be, well, union with the self. Coming back to yourself in some way. Feeling complete and whole. Having everything you need. Pentacles are 3D energy of like abundance and presence and authenticity. Another card of decision, Two of Swords. Might be needing to shift in the way you think about something or in your perspective on something. The phantom limb. I mean, there's something about when the phantom limb, the thing that's lost and still hurts, is replaced by a reunion, a reconciliation, a return of the self to the self. You know, and on the most basic level, it's not like you can feel it when you return to yourself. You've been there all along, waiting for yourself. Stick with me on this. I think there's something on the way. Nine of Pentacles on King of Pentacles. Well, King of Pentacles is looking right at this Nine of Pentacles, which indicates self-sufficiency, self-acceptance, self-care. Again, being comfortable in your own skin. There might be something about this single individual that's really sets an example for this King of Pentacles as to how you can live your life authentically. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It could be like a sister, a daughter, a child. I think this person has a lot of pride. Well, that's not quite right. You know, is proud of, admires this person who can live on their own. You know, who maybe regained their sense of self-worth. This can be a card of feeling unworthy. And perhaps of a literal abandonment, but the person lands on their feet, regains their ground. Maybe in some ways, not in spite of this, but because of it. The pain of the phantom limb, I just keep getting that, is replaced by some kind of strength and ability to stand on your own 2 feet. You're enough. You're enough. King of Wands. And it's like the dynamic just got screwy. King of Wands knows how to do things, has a sense of direction, has a sense of purpose. You know, might make decisions based on intuition. Which way do I go? And I'm getting the feeling this King of Wands might want to make up for something after an argument or after not having shown up for somebody. Tell us about the Five of Pentacles, please. The being out in the cold or needing to rebuild your life on your own terms. Nine of Pentacles. This is a card of the individual. Nines can speak to the individual. After this loss. You know, regrowing a sense of stability on your own terms. Hermit. Card of Virgo. Earth energy. Card of the Sage, the Teacher, the Singular Path. 9 in Major Arcana. 9 in Minor Arcana. Also in Earth energy. The Hermit has learned a great deal by being on his or her own. There's a lesson here. They come back a teacher, lighting the path. You know, they have inner wisdom about how to live their life on their own terms. Sounds so kind of clinical, and that's not quite right, but you know, grounded and centered, not pulled off center. Finding some kind of focal point or tipping point or the fulcrum, having found some sort of balance. Ace of Wands. A new beginning, new inspired beginning or a new direction. Ace of Wands, Two of Wands. You may be involved with a fire sign. Again, not necessarily a romantic partner. And I don't know how that relates to the phantom limb. Knight of Pentacles the King of Pentacles on the board is looking away from King of Wands, who's looking away from, they're both looking in opposite directions. And there's something about a center point. The fulcrum. But this is somebody who learns, who gleans the lesson, not in isolation, but, by understanding themselves. And because they're able to stand on their own 2 feet, can come into relationship with somebody else. There's a possibility for this meeting up. You may be reconciling with somebody that you had a lot of disagreements with, or it's like you had separate belief systems. And again, the systems part sounds so wrong. And maybe that's what you've discovered. There's a kind of common ground. Six of Pentacles. That's a card of help, giving and receiving. Blessed to give, blessed to receive. In equal measure. Regaining after some period of loss. Maybe giving and receiving help, helping each other get back on your feet. It's not codependent. It's a kind of gift of grace. Connection without, it's not transactional. There's something here that looks a little bit transactional. And it might come in the form of a loan or something like that. But I think it's more like, that balance there. The scales appear in the Six of Pentacles and they appear in the Justice card. Equal give and take. It's blessed to receive. I think we forget that part sometimes. We think it's all about giving, but it's also, there's a grace in being able to receive, to ask for help, to receive help. To be there for each other in some capacity. Knight of Pentacles. Somebody may be coming in with help or some kind of stabilizing force, or you might be that in somebody else's life because you've done it in your own life. And you're on the move. It's a step-by-step process. It's not like whatever's happening on the deeper level is echoed in your real 3D step-by-step life. It's a step-by-step on the spiritual path. Something about the loss leads you there. Leads you there. Six of Swords. It's like moving to a new a new state of consciousness, something that's peaceful, a new way of thinking about things, a new idea of how to move forward. You know, being in the process of step by step by step to a more peaceful place, out of this conflict, out of this clash. And I don't know quite what it refers to, what it references, but you do. You know. I think whether or not you're coming back into a kind of reconciliation in 3D with this person, I think both of you are headed toward a more peaceful place, some kind of, well, reconciliation. One more on the split. Tower. You know, something, I see this as water energy, Scorpio. Some major shakeup emotionally. Something that was inherently unstable came down. Collapsed. There was a collapse so that something new could come in. Something new. Something creative and a new direction. What comes in? Two of Cups. And I saw the card underneath, Devil. It might be that a relationship in water energy, in Cups energy, and this card of Scorpio, great emotional shakeup that makes way for something new. And I'm drawn to the fact that there's lightning. You know, there's the lightning bolt there, and then there's the ignition. A paradigm shift. And it might be that something codependent and stuck and destructive got decimated. It could be the loss of a relationship, the idea of the phantom limb, something that got lost or destroyed or radically changed on the emotional level, and the pain of that lingered like a phantom limb. But I think once the Tower happens, in its wake, is a release from this incredibly tight, constrictive energy of Capricorn, of the Devil. It might be something that you had been trying to, because Tower is like something that's too tight and too small. So it gets blown up. It might have been obsessive, an obsession with somebody. Something that looked like love, but was actually too constrictive. And once it's blown up, it opens the way for this kind of connection, maybe with a different person. But it's based on independence, not on neediness. You're headed that way towards something equal. It's blessed to receive. Blessed to receive. If something was too emotionally tight, it was like a no-growth situation because one or both of you is afraid. There's a release from that in the Tower. the potential for connection. We have on the board Scorpio in the Tower, Capricorn in the Devil, Libra in Justice, Virgo in the Hermit, and that's it in Major Arcana. You know, I think that this all indicates a movement out of, out of the strife and the struggle into some kind of peaceful place. After the battle, after the dust settles, something like that. Because when the tower comes down, it's like I'm seeing this, the dust has to clear and something sweet is revealed, or the potential for it. Don't give up. Steady as she goes. There's a big shift in consciousness here. And an idea that all is not lost. That tower energy has something to do with the phantom limb. There's something in that loss that becomes the raw material, earth energy for spiritual growth. After the too tight, it's almost like too tight a cast, something that cuts off circulation, cuts off water energy. The flow is somehow restored. You're on your way. Okay, that's what I got. I'll be back hopefully soon. I'll see you there. If there's a field, I'll meet you there next time.